Ho ho boardies, welcome to Borderline Games. I'm Gareth and this is the Chrono Jotter episode 7. Lots have been drawn to select the new victim and culprit, and before a murder happens, we're taking a stroll around the old schoolhouse. So we spoke to Anne Sakura, who didn't want to speak to us and went upstairs to prepare for the classes tomorrow or later in the day, I can't remember. We've got a bunch of clocks here, I don't know what that means. Maybe as we search for things, these are going to go down, so we only have 3 things to look at. Oh, that makes sense. So we can go see Sai Yurono, Miho Takai, Hinata Koizumi, Aya Toyama. Let's have a look at Sai Yurono. The pool house? Is that where it is? Yes. Ran wandered to the swimming pool, just in time to see Sai rise from the water. She swished her hair around, letting the droplets dance on the pool's surface. Then she raised her hand, brushing aside the strands of hair that had stuck to her nose, and met Ran's eyes. Sai gave her a grin and pulled her swimming goggles down to her neck. She drifted to the edge of the pool and waved hello at Ran.
Well, hey. Didn't think you had the free time to visit the pool. All to visit little old me?
Just presume that I'm bored and have nothing better to do. Sai let her body float freely, holding onto the side of the pool with her arms. Might as well spend some time talking to her. It's totally got a Danganronpa vibe. It's like free time now, isn't it? And then we've got to investigate later. Ran bent over, took off her shoes and socks, and sat on the edge of the pool. She dipped her feet into the water and swung them round gently. Ran lifted her head towards the sky, thinking that perhaps the rain would start soon. Though even if it rained, I'm pretty sure that Yurono would still stay in the pool.
Want to come down for a swim together?
Hell no, it's way too cold.
It's not like you've tried it yet. Just give it a shot. You'll definitely love it.
Absolutely not. Sai laughed, ripples of water spreading outwards from her trembling shoulders.
Hearing you say it like that just makes me more confident. My little sister had the same reaction as you, but afterwards she got addicted to cold water swimming as well.
Exactly like in the recall. Then I'll have to get out of here before you pull me into the water. Oh yeah, she had a recall previously when she was investigating the previous murder. And it was similar to this, wasn't it? Should I ask her about Miss Sakura in the school? Maybe there's a chance she'll answer differently from Takai. Takai? Ran considered it, but before she could ask, Sai herself spoke first.
Ibuki, Sakura is very important to you, isn't she?
Well, of course, importance is just a mere word, though. She's more important to me than you can imagine. After all, whether something is important or not can only be established by comparison with other things. And to me, Miss Sakura is simply everything. There's nothing comparable.
Wow, that's cheesy. Get a room.
Sai idly pushed off from the edge of the pool and floated on the water.
I remember that I had something extremely important I had to do as well. I can't remember it clearly though.
Huh. You've got memory loss issues too?
Nah, it's not the same kind of Sakura's. It's more the kind of forgetting what happens when too much time has passed.
What? There's something even more important to you than swimming? Sai didn't answer and merely let the water of the pool lap over her face. She looks a bit melancholy. How awkward. Oh, I can't get that. I haven't got enough to get that. I think I've only got 2, based on what I did last time I was talking to someone. 1? Yeah, no way. I guess we're asking the other questions. Say nothing. Sai slowly let herself sink, her form blurring under the water, and Ran felt like there was something she needed to say to her. But I don't know her that well. There's nothing for me to say. Well, don't drown yourself, Yuruno. I'm out of here. Bye. Sai raised her hand out of the water and waved a few times in answer to Ran. Am I not going to be able to speak to anybody? And get more information out of them because maybe investigation would come in handy, actually. Hinata, Koizumi. Let's check out Koizumi. Ran opened the rear entrance to the classroom and saw Koizumi at a table, writing something by herself. Ibuki-san! Ah, hello! What is it? Is there something the matter? Koizumi stood up and walked towards Ran, but she only made a single stride before realizing that she was still holding her pen. She had to turn back around to put the pen down. Ran tilted her head slightly, noticing that the book on the table seemed to be a textbook. Why have you come all this way by yourself just to do your homework, rather than doing it in your room? Sakura-san was preparing her lessons, and I didn't want to disturb her. As Koizumi spoke, her hands moved back and forth between her locks of hair and the bangs on her face. Ibuki-san, about how I killed Sakura. You don't have to bring it up again. After all, Miss Sakura is fine now. Ran leaned on the doorframe, her hands crossed over her chest. During lunch just now, Miss Sakura seemed to prefer talking to you more than she did me. You two sure seem close. Sakura-san and I are roommates, so we try to take care of each other. Though usually she's the one who takes care of me. Koizumi's eyes suddenly widened, and the pitch of her voice rose. Ah, Ibuki-san, there's nothing romantic to the relationship that Sakura-san and I have. So. I know. That's right. To the current Miss Sakura, I'm basically a stranger. Not comparable at all to a roommate she sees daily. Perhaps I need to adjust my attitude towards Miss Sakura just a little. I'm clearly being too impatient right now. But it's so difficult. Whenever I see Miss Sakura, all I want to do is cling to her. Ibuki-san? What? Nothing, you just suddenly stopped talking. Koizumi shifted her feet slightly forward and raised her head. She began to blink her eyes at an unnaturally high frequency as she spoke. Ibuki-san, do you have the time in a bit before dinner? I have some things I want to tell you. Oh, is she going to be murdered? Oh, goddammit, need charisma again. I want to meet her. Still only one. God damn it. No. I can't. Once Miss Sakura finishes preparing her lessons, I want to speak to her in private. It's possible that Miss Sakura will be busy all the way until dinner, so I can't make you any promises. Okay, I understand. But if you finish speaking to Sakura-san in advance, and still have a bit of time left over, could you meet with me then? Ran couldn't figure out what Koizumi was trying to say to her, but she had no interest in anything other than Sakura. I'll see about it when the time comes. Oh. Okay. Koizumi continued to maintain a polite smile. Sorry for troubling you and Sakura-san. It's fine. Feels like the atmosphere has gotten a bit uncomfortable. Let's get out of here. Well, I won't interrupt your studying anymore then. Bye. Goodbye, Ibuki-san. So we've been there. Miho Takai. Is that everyone? Just these two? Takai. So I wound up coming back to the dorms after all. Ooh. Should we have a look for Miss Sakura on the second floor? Miss Sakura said she wanted to prepare for her upcoming lessons in her room, so let's not bother her. Ran noticed that there were noises coming from the kitchen. Apparently someone was cutting vegetables. There's someone in the kitchen. Yurono's still at the pool, so who could it be? Why did you give me that choice if it wasn't a choice? Ran stepped into the kitchen, only to be greeted with Miho Takai's back. She was bent over at the waist, focusing intensely on chopping potatoes. Her face almost pressed up against the cutting board. Why would you focus that much? Even so, the resultant potato chunks were all wildly different from each other, in size and shape. Ah. So, even someone like Miho has something she's bad at. How very different from Miss Sakura. Miho, are you trying to double duty as both nurse and chef? Miho's shoulders shook for a moment. She set down the kitchen knife and wiped sweat off her face as she turned around. Ibuki-san, what are you doing here? I heard the sound, so I came to check it out. I thought cooking was Yurono's job. It is, but I also want to learn to cook as well. So I've been asking Yurono-san for her instruction. She really is quite good at cooking. Yeah, she is. Her menu's a bit heavy on the seafood, though. Maybe she really is secretly a fish in disguise or something. Your jokes are even worse than Sakura-san's jokes. Gah. Ran wanted to change the topic to something other than her poor comedy skills. So she spoke. So, why are you trying to learn to cook anyway? It's not like Yurono is having trouble with the workload at the school. I'm just planning for the future. There's no way Aya's going to put in the effort to learn this stuff. So eventually I'm going to have to do all the cooking for her. Huh? Eventually? Ran couldn't quite follow what Miho was talking about. What eventually? You know, after college graduation. Once we graduate, I'm sure I'll wind up living with Aya. Miho gave a single laugh after she finished. Does Miho have a crush on Aya? Come on, that's a bit distant, isn't it? It's still 5 years until then. Who knows where we'll all be in 5 years? No matter what, I'm going to be with Aya, so it's best to start preparing for it as soon as possible. It'll be too late to start preparing once it's actually time. Not just for something as minor as cooking, but so many other things as well. Miho gently caressed the edge of the stove with her hands as she lowered the knife. Her head, rather. I hope Aya can come to that realization in time as well. If I were you, I'd live a bit more in the present and focus on the things in front of you, right now, such as... Ran pointed at the potatoes on the cutting board. Those potatoes. Word of advice, you should peel the potatoes before you start chopping them. Oh! Right. Is that it? Okay. There's Miss Sakura. Dinner time came as scheduled. In a change from noon, there was no sign of any seafood anywhere this time. Various platters, arrangements of vegetable greens and sliced ham had replaced them. So, I feel like we've got to keep an eye out here to see if there's any signs of someone being weird. And if there is, they're probably going to be the murderer. Ran didn't have the heart to enjoy the fine cuisine, though, because Anne and Koizumi were whispering with each other about something. Ran kept trying to get Anne's attention, but the few words she managed to get in were like pebbles thrown into a pond, making only the tiniest of splashes. Finally, after dinner ended, Ran managed to get a hold of Anne. Miss Sakura, do we finally have time to talk properly now? Koizumi said she needed you for something. Why don't you two have a chat first? The class president. She can wait, our conversation is far more important. No. You need to hear her out first. Koizumi didn't tell me what she wanted to say, but you've rejected her once already. She asked me to talk to you about it. Anne lifted her hand and gently placed it against Ran's cheek. Hear her out, please. Miss Sakura. Okay, I got it. Good. Hurry then. There's another set of stairs from the second floor if you take a right turn. If you go up from there, you'll reach the upstairs viewing deck. Koizumi's waiting up there for you. Okay, Miss Sakura, please wait for me in your room. I'll come back, find you as soon as I'm done chatting with the class president. Anne stuck a finger into Ran's hair and gently nuzzled Ran's head, like she was encouraging Ran. See you later. Let's see, Koizumi. Following Anne's instructions, Ran found her way to the viewing deck after pushing open the door. She found Koizumi there waiting for her. Ibuki-san. Koizumi got up from the chair where she'd been waiting for Ran and approached her slowly. No, it's fine. Please remain seated. There's many things I'd like to chat with you about regarding Miss Sakura. There's no need for that. I'll be over very soon. Ran tensed at those words. Ran had envisioned a scenario where the two of them sat at chairs at a respectable distance from each other to discuss Anne's situation. Afterwards, over pleasant conversation, Ran's understanding of the amnesiac Anne would deepen, and that would help her find a way to rebuild her connection with her love. This was not the kind of atmosphere that led to the outcome, Ran was pretty sure. Class President, what are you doing? Ibuki-san. Considering her usual disposition, Koizumi must have rehearsed this moment many times. Ibuki-san, I like you. Would you go out with me? What on earth? Okay. Ran frowned. She couldn't understand what Koizumi was thinking. Surely Koizumi knew exactly what kind of answer she was going to receive after her confession. Class President. Wait, Ibuki-san. Koizumi had reverted to her usual timid state. In fact, she was acting even more nervous than usual. Her calm demeanour just now had exhausted every last bit of her energy, it seemed. She was having trouble controlling even her expressions now, but she still struggled on, trying to get all the words she wanted to say out. I know that you've only got eyes for Sakura-san, but please, let me attempt to do something as well. I want to protect you. This is weird. You want to protect me? From what exactly do you want to protect me? Ran, watching Koizumi struggle to catch her breath, couldn't help but think that Koizumi was the one who needed to be protected, not herself. When we get killed, we revive. But that might not be the case for you, Ibuki-san. If the other students don't think about it, they might go right for you if they draw you as a victim. Or maybe they'll kill you just to prevent you from investigating the crime scene. If that happens, you might just die for real. That is true. I may indeed get killed, and it might turn out to be impossible to revive me, but I can take care of myself. You cannot protect me, and even if I decided I wanted to accept your protection, that doesn't mean that I need to date you. Right, but Sakura-san doesn't remember you right now, and I'm worried that you'll do something drastic. Jesus. Even if it's just temporary, you can rely on me. Ran had no idea why. Ran had no idea why Koizumi had decided to treat Ran like this. It wasn't like the two of them had interacted that much yet. Absolutely not. The only one that I'd ever rely on is Miss Sakura. If that's all you had to say, then I'll be leaving now. It doesn't look like we can have a proper conversation about Miss Sakura right now with the state you're in. Ibuki-san, please wait! Confessing to you is the first time I've ever chosen to do anything of my own volition. You can tell, right? I'm completely indecisive. And even in class, it's Takai-san who makes all the decisions. So, Please stop, Class President. This kind of nonsense is the sort of thing I hate the most. What the hell do you even mean? This is the first time you've made a choice of your own volition. You volitionally eat food, volitionally shower, you volitionally sleep every damn day, don't you? Look, I get the point. You're trying to say that you can't find the determination to make decisions on many things that are important to you, but it's got nothing to do with me. Goodbye. Ran departed the viewing deck, stepping towards the deserted hallway. After encountering Ran had changed significantly, and one of those changes was that she decided that there really weren't that many things she needed to concern herself with. Only Anne Sakura, and the one who searched for Anne Sakura on her own. Herself, in other words. Okay, just worry about herself and Anne. Miss Sakura, are you there? Ran lightly knocked on the door and quickly heard a response. She turned the handle, opening the door and entering the room. You finished your conversation with Kawazumi? Huh? Yes. Okay. Take a seat then. Anne sat at the side of the bed and patted the empty spot next to herself. Finally, we can have a proper conversation, Miss Sakura. Where's Kawazumi right now? Why is her first concern still the class president? She said she wasn't going to come down until later. Did you tell her not to come back? Ran felt Anne tighten her grip on Ran's hand forcefully. There was, once again, an expression on Anne's face that she'd never seen before. Miss Sakura's mad at me. Over someone else. Miss Sakura, is Kawazumi really what we should be focusing on right now? She's a mere outsider. The relationship you and I have isn't as simple as mere dating. It's the kind of relationship that no outsider can possibly interfere with. Miss Sakura, please stop paying so much attention to others from now on. Ran, I don't have memories. Right now, it should be obvious who exactly is important to me, and who is an outsider to me. I hope you can understand that. Oh. I don't understand, no. All I understand is that Anne should treat me the way I should treat you. And be the same to me as... Ran's heartbeat and breathing almost instantly shot up to the limits of her ability to bear. If the person who could most effectively soothe her symptoms was Anne Sakura, and the person who could most effectively trigger those symptoms was also Anne Sakura. Ran, calm down. Anne reached out and clasped Ran's right hand tightly with her own. You think that they had like a really toxic relationship that resulted in Anne's murder or something? Ran, you know that I'm not admonishing you. You know that you're just throwing a tantrum too, don't you? Ran closed her eyes and lowered her head. Her feelings and condition quickly calmed down. As long as Miss Sakura is speaking, no illusion or suffering can touch me. That's right. This feeling right now is all I've ever wanted. If I can be by Miss Sakura's side, that'll be enough. I'm sorry, Miss Sakura. I shouldn't have demanded that the present you hold any sort of extreme feelings for me at the moment. The present you hold any sort of extreme feelings for me at the moment. I was wrong. I'll go apologise to the class president too later. That's more like it, Ran. The priority right now is to get you your memories back. Then we can start discussing just what happened between you and this school, Miss Sakura. I'll try my hardest to come up with a solution. Okay, I believe in you. Ran tightly held onto Anne's hand as tears began forming again. But I feel awful, Miss Sakura. I can't bear the fact that you don't remember me anymore. Ran's anguish reflected itself in Anne's eyes, but Anne seemed at a loss to help Ran. I'm sorry. Is there anything I can do for you? Miss Sakura, used to pat my head when I cried, before. She'd rub my head until I stopped crying. Miss Sakura, can you help me the way you used to? Anne looked down at her hands and hesitated. She knew that all Ran was really looking for was Anne Sakura's face. But she still nodded and gently pulled Ran down to lie on her lap. Then she stroked Ran's head with her hands. Ran closed her eyes and let the sound of the sea and wind fill her ears. Wave after wave, swishing and swishing. Miss Sakura, I'm right here. Miss Sakura. Yes, I'm right here. Alright.
You came back real quick? And here I expect you to stay in Sakura's room overnight. What? Did Sakura dump you or something?
No, I just thought that maybe you'd still be swimming and I could have the room all to myself for a while.
How unfortunate for you that I saw your breakup coming, and thus chose not to go swimming so that I could be right here to comfort you on your return.
Ran laughed at that. She wasn't imagining it. For some reason, she found being around Sai Yorono to be relaxing. Anyways, now that we've drawn lots, death could occur at any time, right? It doesn't feel any different from usual, though.
Well, everyone's used to it now. What were you imagining exactly?
Ran sat down on a chair and crossed her arms over her chest. Well, I don't know. Something like everyone being very tense, making sure nobody can sneak up on them, being super jumpy about any unexpected noises, that sort of thing.
Sounds like that one movie. Battle Royale.
Yeah, a bit. Oop.
Hey, if you're still anxious, you could go look at the dorms for a while yet. Night's still young.
There was that one time Asakura drew herself as the culprit and killed herself.
So who knows? Maybe if you go looking, you'll find her dangling from the rafters somewhere or other.
Oh yeah, that'll cheer me up. For some reason, when Sai said that, Ran felt a brief pulse of pain from behind her eyes. But it passed in an instant. Wow, so someone actually did try that. So Asakura was the culprit, and Asakura herself was also the victim?
Yeah. That case was so stressful for Induo. Though in the end, she was also the one who figured Asakura's faked murder scene out so that Asakura could come back to life.
I can imagine how anxious Induo would have been in a situation like that. Yes.
Well, she's pretty funny when she's freaking out, too. Anyways, if you're going to go take another stroll, don't stray too far. It's not quite safe at night.
What threat is she talking about exactly? When she says that it's not safe? Alright, sure.
And don't forget to take a bath after you've done. I only wiped your body and hair down a bit after you'd got drenched.
Oops. Keep on knocking that. Ran instinctively covered her chest with her hands at Sai's words. Got it.
Jesus Christ. Sai! By the way, your tits are huge.
Who the hell said you could look? Just everybody fancies a no. Ran stood up and quickly left the room. I've recorded a new recall point. Oh, okay. Let's figure out where I'm going. Okay, so where have we got the option to go? Takai/Tayama's room. Sakura/Koizumi's room. Is that it? Go downstairs. Oh, hang on. There's Induo and Asakura's room. Let's go there. After Ran knocked on the door to Tamara and Asakura's room, it took a while for the door to open.
Ah, Abuki-san, good evening.
Oh, hey. Wait, it's just you alone here.
That's right. Asakura-san went with Sakura-san to shower.
So then, it's Miss Sakura, the class president, and Asakura in the shower. Miho said you were all showered in pairs based on your dorm assignments, right? How come you aren't showering with Asakura? I thought you two were basically a single item. I figured you'd totally go with Asakura and, I don't know, scrub her back for her. An item? Oh, I do help Asakura-san wash usually, but today I got caught up reading a book, so Asakura-san went by herself. A book? From the library? That's right. The title of it is Notes from Underground. Huh, seriously? Ran, of course, recognized the name. For a while, she'd been quite into heavy, philosophical novels like that herself. It really didn't seem like Tama's aesthetic at all, though, and Ran had trouble imagining her reading such a book, let alone being fascinated by it. Well, that's pretty impressive of you. Then, it was a pretty tough book to get through, wasn't it? Yes, but whenever I got confused while reading, I just asked Asakura-san to explain for me. She knows just about everything. It definitely does seem like the kind of book that would suit Asakura. Yeah. Tama Indui laughed, blushing slightly. Ibuki-san, if you have yet to shower, might I suggest we shower together? There are some things regarding Sakura-san that I'd like to speak to you about. Oh, sure, absolutely. Let's begin deciphering Miss Sakura's circumstances by starting with Induo then. Though, I wonder if Induo would agree to scrub my back for me if I asked her. Alright. Is that done? Okay. So I can't go there. Sakura and Koizumi's room. And then there's also downstairs. Shower room. Tool room. Kitchen. Let's have a look at the tool room. What's going on here? Deep within the first floor, Ran discovered a door. Curious, she approached the door and discovered a lock upon it. What is my alacrity? Alacrity. I just need one. I could do that. Let's have a look. Okay, so I've got no more points. Try unlocking it. It's locked. This is the first time I've seen a locked door here, I think. Ran reached out and lifted the door lock, and illuminated the keyhole with the light of her phone. Oh, and it's an old-fashioned model too. Let's give it a shot. Ran looked around, and ran over to the kitchen, where she used a pair of scissors to cut a bit of the stainless steel sponge off. Then she wove them together and pulled it into a wire. This should do it. This kind of lock should be easy to open for me. Ran bent over and inserted the wire she'd made from the stainless steel sponge into the keyhole, paying attention to the delicate sensations coming from her fingertips. Soon she found the correct direction. Excellent. The lock folded, slumping over like a deflated balloon. Ran proceeded to push open the door. She reached out and felt all around for a light switch, but she couldn't find it, so she gave up on that. It turned out that this was a cramped tool shed full of various kinds of maintenance tools. There was no lack of large devices that Ran couldn't even name, as well as plenty of ropes, ladders, and the like. What? Come on. It was just a place to dump all this stuff. I bet the key's with the Sakura. They probably keep this place locked to prevent accidents from happening. Ran took a step back and closed the door and clicked the lock back into place. It's about time. Let's go find Induo and get ready to shower. Shower time! Ran soaked in the water and raised her hands in a lazy stretch. The bathroom's a bit rustic, but it's still quite nice to have a soak in. And there's traces of some kind of fragrance too. Yes, it's rose fragrance. Every room is stocked with some. If Ibuki-san would like, I could go upstairs and get some. No, it's okay. I usually don't do this kind of thing anyway.
I understand.
The two of them soaked together without saying a word, leaving only the sound of flowing water in the bathroom. I'm not sure what I should say to Induo. I shouldn't actually ask her to scrub my back, should I?
Ibuki-san, if there's anything you need my help with, or if you're uncomfortable in any way, please do let me know.
Why are you saying that all of a sudden?
Because I feel like I understand your feelings for Sakura-san, so I just thought... Sorry, perhaps I'm being presumptuous.
It's fine, you can say whatever you want to say.
There was once something like that to me as well, Ibuki-san. She was the young mistress of my house. From a very young age, I served as her maidservant.
Weird. Maidservant? Seriously, sounds like something out of a feudal period piece.
Is that so strange? My parents were also servants of the young lady's household, so naturally I served her as well. Asakura-san is a bit of like the young mistress too, but she's unlike her in the ways that she most ought to be. So I'm constantly worried about her and feeling like I ought to take care of her.
Induo. Could you be a bit more clear? What do you mean exactly by the ways she most ought to be? The ways she most ought to be.
I don't know how to put it either. The young mistress was in a terrible state before. She'd only recently started to get a bit better.
Tama lowered her head and lightly bit her lower lip, in a sexy way.
Asakura-san is a lot like how the young mistress used to be before. I want to help her.
Okay. Well, I don't get what you mean by terrible state before, but nobody would be annoyed that someone cares about them. You should just do what you want to do. Tama nodded and a smile returned to her face.
I'll do my best. You too, Ibuki-san. If there's anything you need help with, just ask me.
Sure, gotcha. It's nice that I got to speak with Induo before sleeping. I feel like she's healed all of my exhaustion from today just by talking to me. I should actually try asking her to scrub my back for me next time.
Okay.
Ranabuki slept well. The hot bath she'd taken and Anne's misintrations on her had both been quite effective. But there was a certain something outside of the room that had come to disrupt her hard-won rest. An eldritch presence continually grew, and a nameless chaos was slowly writhing in the hallways at that very moment. Permeating through Ranabuki's brain, with my own will, I opened her eyes. Oh, okay. So this is from the point of view of the eldritch horror or whatever it is. I had forgone awakening for so long. It caused my vision to blur. I laid on the bed and flexed a finger and experimentally pulled her legs in. What? No problems. Ranabuki question mark. At an unthinkably even rate, the door to the room opened, and I focused my undivided attention on the darkness beyond that threshold. What? Oh my god! A pale white form had appeared in the ink-black corridors. From out of nothing, I wasn't able to perceive just how it had approached the gate. I couldn't help but clutch the headboard of the bed with my hands, wary of the being's next moves. It was massive in size. Its progressive gait was like that of a growing plant. From the darkness, it penetrated into the room, advancing bit by bit. Soon, its low, quiet mutterings and gibberings seemed to become a mist that enveloped the whole room. Listening carefully to those quiet whisperings, I finally heard its origin clearly. It was the sound of celestial bodies,
The sound of stars being born and destroyed in an instant. The cacophony of the universe's endless expansion. And the sound of its weeping. I sat up on the side of the bed and looked towards it. The fierce desire and joy it emanated was like the heart-throbbing joy I felt when I first met Ranabuki. Who is this talking? Facing the beloved child of the mother of humanity, we can only be inescapably pulled in. It dragged its body into the room. Its sculpted thorax hunched and it stared at me. Ugh. Who are you? This query is that I should be asking of you, but you have already illuminated my more critical bewilderment. It's all cut in half. What? Its voice appeared within my consciousness, in a language which I could understand. I seek but cannot find the memories of Ansakura, and have no recourse but to seal Ranabuki away in this broken world. Its speech was seemingly bent to some bizarre rhythm. The phrasings it used were invariably twisted. An organ like a distended eyeball, which apparently served as the being's head, turned to face me. It glimmered with specks of inorganic light. Its heaving back ran nearly parallel with the ceiling, and the conglomerate of spherical masses that made up its lower half clung tightly to the ground. Two long dangling arms, dense with muscle, drooped powerlessly to the floor. I looked towards the upper bunk. Sayurono showed no sign of waking up anytime soon. Perhaps she couldn't perceive these sounds, or perhaps it wasn't allowing Sayurono to awaken. What do you intend to do to Ranabuki? We are kindred. Okay. From the perspective of the mother of humanity, we are indeed kindred, but I know not from whence you originate. In terms of fundamental nature, we may be quite dissimilar. So is this supposed to be Ranabuki's split personality or something that's in control right now? Is that what's happening? Some kind of split personality situation? If in the eyes of the mother you and I are alike, then you must surely understand my thoughts and motives. I see. You're kinda always like this. Ranabuki merely wants to be together with Ansakura. Why do you persistently hinder her in this? This is no hindrance. You crave the mother's beloved child. In this you are like us. From that statement it was obvious that it was this being which had brought Ranabuki here, and it had no intention to let Ran leave. No matter what your intent is, trapping Ranabuki here and forcing her to remain by your side is nothing but a waste of effort. She has to help you of her own will for it to mean anything. This place is the heaven that belongs to her. I hope for her external companionship. Suddenly, it tilted its body forward, and its featureless head closed in towards me once more. I understand the laws, thus. None may forcibly claim her. I have also left her a path to depart from here. Originally I believed that the closest one to her was you. The one who most could lay claim to her was you, but in fact you are counted as the most distant from her. I thought this was an I. Only if she slumbers, or if her brain ceases consciousness, or if her soul and physical body are separated, can you quietly manifest in the world. So is this like when Ran's little sprite becomes all jaggled and black and white? This is the personality that's controlling Ran right now. Its voice wasn't particularly emotionally charged. Perhaps it wasn't even attempting to provoke me, but just expressing what it considered to be a simple fact. At least I've always been by Ranabuki's side. I will protect her. And since you've constructed this stage, you shouldn't disrupt the rules yourself. Stay away from Ran and let her make the decision herself. I will only protect her and ensure that when she makes her decision, that nobody can stop her. It seemed to have nothing more to say. It began retreating, in a way that looked as if it was just rewinding the process through which it sprouted into this room. A film played in reverse. A proper paralysis demon. Bit by bit, it was sucked into the darkness outside the room's door. Its featureless head staring at me the entire time. Or, rather, should I say, towards Ranabuki's body. After it was swallowed by the darkness, the door to the room closed by itself without a single sound. I went back to bed, hugging my shoulders tightly. I took a deep breath and hungrily buried myself in the sensation of physical contact with Ranabuki. I needed it badly. Good night, Ranabuki. I closed her eyes and returned her body to her. Weird. Oh my god, so weird! Okay, that's much more exciting. What the hell was that about? Okay, so that's another episode of Borderline Games. What's going to happen next? We've got a murder. We've got a weird split personality that's in control. And beyond that, we've got this weird eldritch horror that visits us in the middle of the night. I guess we'll work out what's going to happen next time on Borderline Games. Thanks for watching this episode of the Chrono Jotter, and I'll see you next time. Have a good evening. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.